What's people's problem with clowns, man? Aren't they just funny? To prove that, we have a special Friday the 13th story today. And it will show you precisely how funny a clown really can be. I'm gonna take the mask off though because it's quite harsh to be down here, so the gloves are off. And the mask is too. That mask messed with my beautiful haircut, man. But anyway, as usual, since this is a horror story, listener, beware. Let's get down to business, shall we? Imagine you had the greatest power in the whole wide world. A reality bending way of making sure that anything you thought you could create, even in the most literal and immediate of senses. Like a god that could produce something, anything from nothing, anytime and anywhere. And what if you had a certain despise for your fellow man, the humans that roam the earth without knowing better? What if, in some way, you wanted to punish them for their transgressions, real or imagined? And what if you had, or at least you thought you had, a sense of humor? It goes by many names, as is usual in urban legends, in myths. The clown. It looks like one, even if the details of its appearance change depending on the onlooker, on the audience, on the victim. Chorophobia may play a part, especially now that the sightings have escalated, but it speaks to the inner beliefs of each and every one of us. Are you a jolly good fella, full of optimism and energy? The clown will wear bright colors, and it will even sport the biggest of smiles. Are you dark and broody? The clown can be that too, with its drab, large shoes and balloon animals all in black. Do you let lust control your every perception? Sexy clown it is then. But none of that matters. What matters is the way it gets to you. When it decides that you are worthy prey, it will come at you with everything it has. It will make you suffer slowly, deeply, to the point of death. And it will make it funny. Simon looked at Leland for a while. He chuckled. Sounded like he snorted. Dude, he said, I am drunk, not crazy. Leland giggled nervously. Not crazy either, but it's true. He sighed. Don't go to that park, man. It's not gonna end well. Don't worry, said Simon as he laid back on his seat as nonchalantly as he could. It's a simple job, and I'll be in the car the whole time. Won't even have to step outside for a second. You're missing the point, man. Leland rubbed his temples in palpable frustration. It doesn't matter. If the clown catches you, stop that, man. There is no clown. You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it. I'm not making this up. Leland threw his hands up in the air. It's not a fable that you tell kids to stop them from being mischievous. This is serious. Silence. Even the noises of the bar around them seemed to lower their volume. They may as well could have stayed like that forever if not for the vibration. The cell phone that lay on the table between them came to life, buzzing too madly for it to be ignored. It's time, said Simon as he picked up the phone. He stuffed it in his pocket without even looking at it. He stood up. Leland also got to his feet. Man, listen, at least promise me that you'll stay in the car then, that you won't go out, no matter what. Yeah, Simon gave a step away from the table. Leland grabbed his arm for a second, then recoiled slightly. Just take care, man. I will. No sweat. I'll see you soon. Out of the bar, outside, the cool air smelled of peppermint and pine. Into the car. The engine started smoothly, as it should. The guys were waiting a couple of blocks away. 3 of them. No need for more. Simon picked them up silently. Nobody said a word. None was needed. They all knew what they had to do and how to do it. One quick job. In and out. They didn't park right outside of the warehouse. They didn't even park on the other side of the street. They'd go through Crystal Park on foot. Simon found that odd, but he said nothing about it. It was not his job to ask questions. His only job was to drive, and he didn't need his mouth for that. Good thing, too. He kept swallowing his breath of alcohol, fearful about being discovered by one of the others. He shouldn't have drunk so many beers. But he was fine. He could manage. Simon parked, kept the engine running. No words, their movements slick and calculated. His three companions got out and swiftly got lost under the cover of darkness, among the trees and the shadows. Simon tried to sit back and relax. He lit a cigarette, rolled down the window. He was just a bit anxious and wouldn't get out of the car because he wanted to be ready to accelerate as soon as the others returned, not because some crazy story about a fantastic apparition. There was a massive stone staircase right next to where he parked, at the edge of Crystal Park. He looked down and felt dizzy. It wasn't vertigo, I'm just tipsy. He reassured himself with another puff from the cigarette, closed his eyes for a moment, but only a moment. He needed to be ready. Simon threw out the half-finished cigarette down the staircase and rolled the window back up. He closed his eyes again. He thought he did it for only a moment. The hard knock on the window woke him up. He never learned their names, the guys he drove with. They always changed. It was all part of the job. But now one of them was pounding on the window, yelling, pleading to Simon to open the door, to let him in. The locks were not engaged. "It's open," mumbled Simon. Shook his head. "It's open," he repeated, more confident, grounded. Then he realized it. The man was wet, dripping. Sweat? Nah, it was too much. His clothes were sodden. The man yanked at the handle, but the door wouldn't open. He punched again on the window, his fists red with trickling blood that diluted instantly with the water that he seemed to have been soaked with. "Open the door!" He looked over his shoulder. "Open the fucking door!" "It's open, man, it's open!" Just as Simon started to reach for the door, the man staggered to the side. Now a second later, something else bumped into the car's window. It looked like some kind of container, like someone had thrown a bottle against the vehicle. The thing was, that inanimate object didn't just crash and fall to the floor. It just stayed there, levitating, turning like a searchlight for a brief moment before rushing again. Or flying again could be more appropriate. And that thing, Simon had seen that kind of object before. It was a soda siphon. Simon saw how that thing caught up to the man and continued to pour water on him. A lot of water. It brought the man to the ground with the sheer pressure of the squirting, and he continued doing it even when the man's body stopped twitching and squirming. It was a soda siphon, a goddamn seltzer bottle, and it was out for blood. Disbelief couldn't quite take a hold of Simon because he immediately heard more screams coming from the park. Stumbling through the trees came another one of the guys, running poorly because he turned to look behind him at every step of the way. The thing that was chasing him quickly caught up. It looked like two small white pouches. They were like hands. No, like gloves. White gloves, the kind that you see on cartoon characters. One of the gloves pinned him down to the ground. The other one just waited, held out, as if it was expecting a handshake. Even at that distance, Simon could make out what the man was saying. He was just repeating one word. "No, no, no," over and over again. The glove jerked up and down, a force for the man to be shaken. It slapped the man across the face a couple of times. It wouldn't be denied. "No, no, please, no." The glove yanked on the man's nose in a somewhat silly manner and jerked again. "Come on, shake me. It's just a friendly hand clasp." After a while, eyes tearing, the man finally obliged. The moment he touched the glove, his whole body stiffened. His jaw locked, and every vein in his body tensed to a fatal point. It didn't take long before smoke started to come out of his skin. Everything burned inside, from the muscles to the very center of every bone. Simon could swear he could even smell it, the human barbecue that quickly caught fire meters away from him. It didn't take long for him to realize what had happened. It was that old prank, the hand buzzer. Only difference was that this one had a lethal current going through it. Time stopped for Simon. He was sitting in the car, trying not to move a single part of his body. His stillness gave him a measure of comfort. As long as he did nothing, as long as he remained calm, or as calm as possible, he would be fine. His heart thoroughly disagreed. It was racing. Simon could feel it move from his chest, creeping upwards as if it was trying to get out through his mouth. If it actually did, Simon would have been able to do nothing to prevent it. The engine was also running still. Come on, it's easy. Shift into gear and let's get the hell out of here. There's nothing to do. Those poor bastards are gone. Dead. Nothing to be done. Do you want to die too, like those two? Simon felt a spine chill. 2 out of 3. Where was the other member of the crew? He felt his eyes dart for too long, only they didn't. The darkness had swallowed everything, making it impossible for him to make out any shape. Or so he thought. Tunnel vision, stress-induced, trauma, shell shock, a trance that was very hard to get out of. And then the gentle knock on the roof of the car. Simon would never know what prompted him to step outside. He didn't rush, he just inched his way out of the vehicle in an awkward way, letting his movement be governed by a trembling that felt foreign, otherworldly. He found the third guy when he turned his face upward. He was hanging upside down, his mangled body barely visible through the blood-soaked party streamers that wrapped around him like the bandages of a mummy. He felt sick. He was about to throw up, and he would have if he wasn't greeted by an eerily familiar face. "I told you not to get out of the car," said Leland casually. "I even begged you to promise that you wouldn't, no matter what." Simon could recognize him even in the half-light, even with his senses firing erratically and his body poised for escape. His legs felt on fire and his arms felt heavy. He was panting. Leland was wearing brown big clown shoes and a bluish big clown pants. They looked more like denim trousers, only washed out and oversized. His chiseled, slick figure was swimming inside them, and to hold them in place he wore brown suspenders. He didn't have any shirt on. His face had an uncanny valley feeling to it, like he was wearing a latex mask of himself. 2 vermilion tufts of what appeared to be hair sprouted to either side, left and right, and some kind of leather strap ran from his brow to the back of his head. The strap protruded from his skin in a gruesome manner. What's going on?" Simon was babbling. "I warned you about the clown," said Leland. He was casually leaning against the car. His voice sounded as carefree as his body position. "The clown? What clown? What are you? You're talking about what? A clown." Leland smirked. He produced the banana, started to peel it, and eat it. It wasn't easy. His hands were inside black gloves, the kind a serial murderer would wear. You warned me. A clown. I am the clown," sighed Leland, his mouth full of fruit. Simon cackled manically for a second. "No," he said. No. It's so funny," said Leland, his smirk growing wider. His features were nothing short of nightmare fuel, grotesque and unhinged. Simon was shaking his head. He was also waving his hand in a motion of disbelief. Leland sighed again. He took his hands to his face, to his eyes. He started to count. 10, 9, 8. "What are you?" 7, 6, 5. Simon said no more. He moved quickly. He'd been given a chance to run, a chance to escape. He would take it. He would waste no more time. He stepped on the banana peel that Leland had discarded. His right wrist smashed against the stone staircase first and broke in several places. The impact traversed through his forearm, elbow, and all the way to his shoulder, causing a series of painful microfractures. His head bumped slightly into the ground, scratching everything from his right eyebrow to his chin. His nose lost a bit of its cartilage as it frictioned against the floor. Simon's body then cartwheeled strangely. His feet, his hips, his waist, they all crashed against the steps at the same time, causing him to wince loudly. His left hand tried to grab something, even managing to sink its nails in the stone. It only managed to scrape off the skin of his fingertips. And that was just the beginning. There were 129 steps on the stone staircase that started at the edge of Crystal Park. Simon would go on to feel most of them as he made his way to the streets below. Or at least his body would. Nobody really knows at which point he lost consciousness, nor when exactly consciousness lost him. Pity. It would have been a cool anecdote, especially with all the twists and turns that the story would have. Leland chuckled as his gaze followed Simon's stumbles downward. There was no denying it. Sleeping is funny. Enjoy the rest of this second Friday the 13th. I will see you when I see you.